Hey everyone, very good evening. So today I'll be talking about safeguarding the web development. Yes, so whenever I speak about security, I feel like I'm kind of aged or a kind of very senior person because we don't think about security of the application unless something went serious in the product or something gets break, literally. Okay. So, as a developers, whenever we get to know about new technologies, we'll be very eager to use them. But also we have to consider their pros and cons, both of them, and we have to make sure how to use it properly. So in the same way, this generative AI as well. So hopefully you guys also will be using the chat GPT in your day-to-day life. How many of you? Of course, everyone. So, is there any AI tool that you guys use in your day-to-day development work apart from ChatGPT? Yep, that's awesome. So, so this generative AI, it's not just a technology agnostic persons are using. Also, from other domain, also the people are using the same. Uh, just recently, I met one of my lawyer friend. Actually, he is also using the AI tools. I was quite surprised. And of course, in other domains, like even it in the news might be like it's quite pretty becoming very much famous right now, and a lot of tools and applications are getting developed. So hence, we being developers, we have to know its security concerns. So before we move into more details of this presentation, I would like to present few of the statistics that says, so firstly, why do we need to care about security when it comes to AI? So this is a report from Cybersecurity Statistics from 2024, which was released recently. That is, um, there is a chance of 85% of cyber attacks that can happen using the generative AI, and 46% of the respondents says that so business operations can get affected. And also, of course, as we know, there are few security concerns from the applications, that is privacy concerns, phishing attacks, and all those things can happen. So this is a kind of a red flag for us, and also a green flag for us to learn about security starting today itself, if not started yet. Okay, so coming to this session, so today I'm going to discuss about understanding the risks involved in using the generative AI tools and how to identify the vulnerabilities and mitigating those security threats, and few of the tools and resources that are there currently, so that you guys can refer for. Understanding the risk, firstly, we all know we use the AI for entertainment purpose, education purpose, and in other domains as well, correct? So in that, the one of the the common issue that we came across is about deep fake. When we say deep fake, we are creating something which is fake, which resembles exactly the real one. So we have to be very careful on the deep fake aspects. And coming to the web development or any kind of applications that we develop, so there are few potential vulnerabilities that comes into picture. So there are few loopholes, and that results in some of the major concerns. So one common issue is like insecure APIs. So most of the time, in terms of running behind the deadlines, we forget to incur the APIs to be secure. So we have to make sure APIs should be secure. Otherwise, we'll get into the issue of data breaches of the users, which might be kind of crucial, and insufficient input validation. So whenever we train the models, so we usually give some examples for those. What we do is sometimes we might insert some of the user data, personal data as well, while we train the models. At that time, what happens? So it can lead to some injection attacks or so. So we have to be very careful when we are giving the input validation properly, and there are few flaws in the there might be few flaws in the AI models themselves, because since it's a new to the market, so there is no much work has been done yet, so as compared to other technologies what we already are having. So hence, whenever you consider using any of the tools or something out there for your application in the background, in the backend, so make sure it is not having any kind of security threats. Just a simple example is, hope you guys are from JavaScript background out here, JavaScript or a Java background. So whenever you install a package, you make sure the number of downloads and when the package has been updated, all those things, right? So the same thing, we have to make sure the whatever AI models that you guys consider, so that should be kind of updated and it's a risk free. So how can we address these issues? The first one is secure data handling, as we spoke just previously. We have to make sure encrypting the data before we just send it to the backend model. So, and also we have to make sure authentication and authorization is being implemented properly, so that unauthorized users cannot access it. And one more thing is, once we set the application to production, most of the time we don't check who is like what kind of users are accessing. Sometimes the malicious user can also access the data, and that can be a problem for the product itself. So hence, it's very necessary to add those kind of authentication and authorization, and keep checking for the sanity of the users that are using the product as well. So next comes the model validation and testing. So whenever we create a models, so first we have to check for sanity, and we have to detect if there is any kind of issues are there or not, and to best in order to debug, so we have a kind of tool called as OpenAI debugger, so which we use often whenever we create the LLMs, whenever we are trying to train the LLMs basically. And next comes the ethical use and transparency. So whenever we create an application, we have to upfront tell the users, so no kind of sensitive information should be there, and like in the privacy policies also, these all the things should be included. Yeah. So now we'll discuss about some of the tools and resources so that can help us in order to keep the application secure that we are developing. The first one is a TensorFlow privacy. So anyone worked on this or heard about this? Okay. So this is just a library that we are having. So whenever you train a models, right? So usually what happens, it is just like you will give some set of information in order to train the model basically. So our end goal should be, we have to train the model in a general pattern instead of based on use cases. So in order to make that, so this tool will be very kind of helpful. Basically what it does is, if you know how the LLMs will be kind of trained, we'll take some set of data. So that will be some bunch of data. So that will be pushed into the system. Those models will be, it will be kind of called as generatives. We call it as generatives. So there, in this TensorFlow privacy tool, we can just add this one kind of optimizer function. That's all. So here you can see some 3 lines of code, right? So what it is doing, it is just normalizing the clip. It is adding some noise, and you are creating some micro batches. So these are kind of custom values that you can just add for this. By adding this, what happens? So this will allow the whole model to train general in a general pattern instead of use cases. When I say use cases, like let's say uh, it has to give some information of a user, of user A, B, and C. So instead of taking the direct values, so what this will do is it will just, okay, the other best example would be like, let's say you are searching for a shoe. So it has to be trained for a shoe, okay? So you will give some inputs of a men's shoe, more of a, okay? But if you try to search for a women's shoe, that might not give a proper results. That might, since it will be a kind of trained very less compared to the men's shoes, correct? In those aspects, what we can do, if we use this kind of a tool, so it will help in our just shoe characteristics what are there, so it will just um, train it according to the characteristics instead of how it is looking exactly at that point of time. The same goes with a data. So I just give an example of a shoe which is kind of materialistic. So the data also, this will be kind of very helpful in that. So when you see here, this is a kind of a gradient descent Gaussian optimizer. It's just a piece of a code, optimizer code. So this can be added along with your LLM code that you already have written. So in this, this gradient will be calculated. Gradient is nothing but like in that module, how do you train with a sort of direction and where it needs to be placed, correct? In the same fashion, when you say a normal clip, so it will just take a portion of it. And when you say noise multiplier, it is just a Gaussian noise will be added to bring out the commonalities in that. And when we say micro batches, so it just converts similar pieces into convert into similar slices, and those will be placed accordingly. And this can be changed according to our requirement. So how many batches that we need, and how much noise we can just add it according to our requirement. Yeah. Moving to next, so here one more tool we have. This is private AI collaborative. So this is having multiple options actually. So as you can see in this example, we have a text, and when you just select it, it is giving some kind of information over here. So when we just insert this, um, it is not just giving directly the values itself, it is generalizing it with some kind of variables. Because every time we send some information to the tool, it is not a good thing to send the private information, especially. We have to, kind of encrypt them in some sort. So this tool can be helpful for that. And this is not just for this is just for a text demo. So we can have it for a file, and even we can just do it for the LLMs as well. We can use that for LLMs as well. Yeah, so for the safety purpose, we have the OpenAI already, so you can refer for that page. And here I have just picked one of the example. So how to the best practices of deploying the language models. Um, it's just like prohibiting the misuse and mitigating the unintentional harm, and thoughtful collaborative with stakeholders. Like most of the time what happens, like we developers, we don't interact properly with the business team. They keep saying like, yeah, these are the requirements that we want, just get it done however it is. But there will be some kind of issues in the tools that we might use, so we have to interact with them openly. So this is the kind of a thing that we are having, and that needs to be addressed well, because business going according to the business, creating something is good, but later repenting on that, it will be kind of very bad. And any kind of safety resources that you guys want, like you can just check this OpenAI safety page. Yeah, so the conclusion is, just have this security measures before you start any new implementations, and just go with the best practices, and yeah, leverage the appropriate tools and resources. Thank you guys.